Hey everyone, in today's video, I want to talk about a topic that we receive a lot of clarification questions around, and that's around some different 5-year rules specifically to Roth conversions. So with Roth IRAs, there are 3 different 5-year rules that you might need to adhere to. One of those rules is the 5-year conversion rule, and I find there's so much confusion around these rules, partially because it's not very clear even when you look at the IRS website. So what I want to do today is I want to walk through looking at the IRS website and talk through specifically who has exceptions to the 5-year conversion rule and cover a little bit what is that 5-year conversion rule. Now, before getting into this content, I'm going to make my head a little bit smaller, move myself over here to the right-hand corner. If this is your first time watching a Safeguard Wealth Management YouTube channel, or maybe you watched a few of our videos, make sure you hit the subscribe button over here, okay? We have a lot of different videos that we've released through Wealth Wednesdays, through different Roth conversion videos, and if you're not subscribed, you may or may not be notified of all future content that we release. So you want to make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit this notification bell over here, to be notified of all future content that we release. Okay, so let's go over here. And what we're going to be focusing on today is the publication 590B. Okay, and this was a 2021 rule used for preparing 2021 return or 2020 returns. This has not changed for 2021. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go down to this section down here where it talks about, if I can find it quickly, Roth IRA section and distribution of conversion and certain rollover contributions within 5 years. Okay, so we're going to click on that. It's going to take us down here. Okay, so to set the stage, for those that don't know, again, there's some different 5-year conversion rules. We've recorded a video that you can see in the right-hand corner here. You can click on in the right-hand corner to talk through what each of those 5-year rules are to kind of clarify. But we still get some additional questions specifically in relation to the 5-year conversion rule. So basically what the 5-year conversion rule is, if you perform a conversion, okay, a Roth conversion from traditional IRA to a Roth IRA, you essentially have to wait 5 years in order to access that conversion. Okay, so you can perform a conversion at any age, but basically you have to wait 5 years in order to access that conversion, unless some specific exceptions apply. Okay, so we'll see here as we read through this documentation, this is specifically for distributions from conversions within the 5-year period. Okay, so basically what it'll say, if within 5 years, period starting the first day of the tax year in which you convert the amount from traditional IRA to rollover amount, you may have to take a 10% additional tax on early distributions, basically if you perform or if you distribute within that 5-year period. Okay, and it'll say down here, a separate 5-year conversion period applies to each conversion and rollover. So basically what that's saying is, if you made a conversion in 2020, okay, you cannot access that conversion until 2025. Okay, if you make a conversion in 2021, that starts a separate clock. That basically you cannot touch that conversion until 2026. So every conversion has a separate clock that you need to adhere to. And if you access that conversion prior to that 5-year period, essentially you're going to owe a 10% early distribution tax penalty. Okay. But the important thing in it here, and where we get a lot of questions, are there any exceptions? Okay, and basically what you'll see, unless one of the exceptions listed later applies, you must pay the additional tax on the portion of the distribution attributable to the conversion. So basically what this is saying is, unless one of the later exceptions, and we'll talk through what these exceptions are, if one of these exceptions doesn't apply, you're going to basically pay a 10% additional penalty for taking from that distribution. So let's say that you performed a conversion in 2020. Okay, again, that starts a 5-year clock that you can't touch that conversion until 2025. If you would withdraw money from that conversion in 2021, again, you paid taxes on that conversion. So let's say you paid a 22% tax in 2020 to convert from that traditional IRA to that Roth IRA. Well, if you access that money in 2021 before that 5-year clock is done, you're going to have to pay an additional 10% penalty. So you paid that 22% tax, but you're also going to need to pay an additional 10% penalty. So really that conversion then cost you something like 32%. Okay, unless one of the exceptions apply. So if we look down here, exceptions where you do not have to pay the 10% penalty. The big one I want to focus on here, and you can read through all of these other penalties if they are, these exceptions if they apply to you. But the big one I want to focus on here is if you have reached age 59 and a half. It says it right in the IRS documentation we can see here. So basically, if you have reached age 59 and a half, you have an exception to the 5-year conversion rule. Okay, this is very critical as we plan. A lot of people think, okay, if I turn age 60, okay, and I perform a conversion, I still have to apply to that 5-year conversion rule. That's not the case. Because that person is over 59 and a half, they do not have to adhere to that 5-year conversion rule. That conversion is instantly accessible. So if somebody is over 59 and a half and they perform a conversion in 2020, they can then access that money immediately in 2021 without penalty. So this is very critical for those that are performing conversions in retirement, which is an awesome time to perform conversions. Again, we have an entire playlist talking through Roth conversions, when they make sense, why they make sense. So those that are performing conversions after 59 and a half, you have instant accessibility to that conversion. This is extremely important to understand. You do not have to wait. Okay, so let's say you are 62 years old, okay, and you perform a conversion, and you want to use that money the following year at 63 in order to save on ACA insurance and earn a subsidy. Well, you can do that, okay? 62, the following year you can access that conversion. You receive the exception because you're over 59 and a half. You do not have to adhere to that 5-year conversion rule, and you are all set. Okay, so again, this is extremely important. If you're over 59 and a half, basically in your mind, eliminate that 5-year conversion rule. Let's say that you were 58 and you performed a conversion. So you do have to adhere to that 5-year conversion rule for that year and a half, but as soon as you have reached age 59 and a half, you can access that Roth conversion. Okay, so for some people, the 5-year conversion rule might be 3 years or 2 years if they're performing that conversion at a time where they will pass over that 59 and a half exception. And again, you can see there are some other exceptions here as well if you're totally and permanently disabled, if you're the beneficiary of a deceased IRA owner. And again, you can read through all of these together. But again, most people are going to, the exception that's going to apply to most people is this age 59 and a half. They have the exception from the 5-year conversion rule. So hopefully this cleared things up. Again, we receive a lot of questions on these conversion rules. They get complex because there's 3 different 5-year rules. So in terms of the 5-year conversion rule, if you're over 59 and a half, you have that exception. Hopefully this was informational. Always remember, you don't need more money. You need a better plan. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you're notified of the next video that we release. Have a great rest of the day.